Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this video is for the Critical Race History Facts or channel. And this is off a podcast from someone that I believe, and many other brothers believe, is one of those speckled birds. Though he has no clue of it, or maybe he does, because he did have an encounter with the so-called black Hebrew Israelites. And this is Joe Rogan. And I believe Joe Rogan is a speckled bird, but that's neither here nor there. What's important is what this red dog right here has to say. This Edomite, who would lie and tell you that he's white, all right? And there's nothing white about him. He truly is red. When it says in the first came out red all over, well, you're looking at him. And the Edomite, they are the most violentest people that the world has ever seen. Their blessing was the sword. The Lord, as a matter of fact, let me just grab it. The scriptures will say it better than I can, because I'll probably just get angry and use adult language. Just thinking about these lying pieces of shit. Damn, there I was. I tried not to. All right. But this is the book of Genesis, 27th chapter and the 40th verse. And it reads, it says, by the sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, and thou shalt break the yoke from off his neck. All right, so basically, Esau Edom was a servant who now became the ruler, and he lives by the sword. He lived by the sword in the ancient world. All right, when he gained the whole ancient world, but pretty much for the most part, and when he fell at the hands of our ancestors, and when he rose up again, he used his sword again, because that's how he got Spain and Portugal and Ireland and England and Australia and America and South Africa and so on and so forth. He got them through the sword. All right, he got them through brutality, through rape, robbery, murder, usury, and the stealing of the resources of other people's land. He violently taketh a house that he buildeth not. And this red piece of shit had the nerve to come with his pseudoscience. And the Bible warned us of pseudoscience. That it warned us that the earth would be given into the hand of the wicked. Well, it's obvious who the wicked is, who's ruling the earth right now. And two of the things that they would do is that they would use science to get past the word of God and rule over the people. But not real science, pseudoscience, false science. All right? That's how they set up the doctrine of white superiority, which has been proven to be false by true science and just actually reality, just observation. All right? Who's the most dominant in all combat and athletic sports that they get involved in? Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right. And with that report that just came out on Fox News at Tucker Carlson, I believe it was at Tucker Carlson, how basically that Negro babies and blacks, because of melanin and this, that, and the other, and how they would just did everything better and greater than so-called white people, so-called self-proclaimed. Because remember, also critical race fact, critical race history, they self-proclaimed themselves white in 1681 in Virginia. That's facts that can be looked up. That's factual history that has been proven. Prior to 1681, there was no group of humanity referred to as white people. Okay? But let's grab 1 Timothy. Then we're going to let this piece of shit open his mouth. When he open his mouth, shit fall from it. All right? Falleth from his mouth. Okay? Lies. This is 1 Timothy 6:20, and it reads, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, and avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. All right? One more form for his doctors and his studies. These racist lies, just like Johann Blumenbach with all the fabricated and false doctrine of white superiority and Darwinism. All lies. This is Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. All right? Look at the condition of the world, the water, the air, the people, the animals. All on their watch. Their science is bad. And the word doctor means to falsify. You ever heard the term doctor something up? Now let's listen to this piece of shit talk. Let me make sure the sound is up. People on here behind me be effing with the sound. Yep, that would have pissed me off. Okay, here we go.
Whole debate about the MAOA gene, which is like this gene that Black Africans have.
Now here we go. There's no such thing as black people, and Africans and American and so-called Black Americans and Hamites, Hamitic Africans are two different races of people. They are not the same people. All right? You got to remember, West Africa was called Negro land. All right? It had Fort Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right? Because why? Because you had Hebrew Israelites that were taken captive by dark Africans, Ishmael Arabs, and so-called white men, and sold into slavery. All right, so that's another lie. They try to group people together with these false groups of humanity, of false names that they have created. All right, and he's lying with a straight face. I claim him in the name of Yahweh Bashem Awashai, and he's going to the fucking wall.
It's like a proclivity to violence that they have.
MAOA gene.
Yeah. I recommend people Google it and do their own research. It's like a big debate about whether or not, but basically like what it is it's, if you think about kind of white European, Asian ancestors, as we kind of moved out of Africa, like aggression and violence was kind of less necessary because we were like farmers and stuff.
Right? God, is that
so? They trying to say that? Okay, hold on.
Because we were like farmers and stuff.
Right? God, is that really true?
There's this whole debate about the MA.
and then what does Joe Rogan say? God, is that really true? No, it's not. It's a fucking lie. Because Joe Rogan's no dummy and he knows history. He knows the violence of the so-called white man. As a matter of fact, let's read about some of it. Back into this book, Hidden Heroism. All right. Written by a white man, Black Soldiers in America's Wars, by Robert B. Egerton. All right. This Jewish guy, this Edomite. This is page 123. All right. And it says, matter of fact, maybe we will read this one through the camera. All right. And it reads, there were a few racially integrated bread lines and soup lines in soup kitchens. Now, the time period is right around the time of the crash in 1930. 10 years earlier was the Red Summer, when they destroyed all the well-to-do black communities in the South and in different places where they were that were doing much better than most of the well-to-do white communities. So they destroyed them, all right? And now these so-called black people were left with nothing, all right? But it says there were even a few racially integrated bread lines and soup kitchens in the North where blacks were twice as hard hit as white. But blacks were often taken out of the line and beaten by police for no apparent reason to onlookers, but Jim Crowism remained throughout the country and Although lynchings declined in the number, they still took place. Why? Because the prison industry had sprung up. All right. So they decided, wait a minute, we killing all this money. We need to get this free labor. So they stopped killing them. A black man lynched in Virginia in 1936 was burned to death, hacked into hundreds of pieces by eager souvenir hunters, white men and women, Christians, God-fearing Christian Americans. Even pieces of bone were taken. After several particular ghastly lynchings like this, one picture, postcards of mutilated bodies were made and widely sold. Man, I gotta take a moment, man. I'll just continue reading. Flagrantly rigged trials continued too, such as one in 1931 that has sentenced 9 Scottsboro boys to prisons for rape on perjured testimony. So they admitting that it was lies, and then they're giving you the information. I love these old books because it gives you the numbers where you can go look up the information where it came from. It says these Scottsboro boys to prison that, well, let me see, flagrantly rigged trials continued too, such as the one in 1931 that sentenced 9 Scottsboro boys to prison for rape on perjured testimony. Like many poor whites, destitute black men often rode the rails in freight trains looking for work. Accused of rape, these 9 black youths were taken from the train. 8 of them were quickly sentenced to death, thanks to legal assistance by communists and black organizations that they were eventually freed despite the obvious communist rhetoric. This appeal for help moved many Americans. All right. And then I'm not going to read the appeal, but it says the fact that the alleged rape victim repudiated her allegations of rape 4 years later finally led to the dismissals of the charges against the 9 young men. So they spent all those years in prisons, in the prison system. And the girl was found to be a lie because she's probably just a whore fucking everybody. And when she got caught, she said the niggers did it. Typical. Almost, as a matter of fact, majority of these of the Negro men that were raped were on false allegations or consensual sex with white women who got caught, and because of the shame or the embarrassment or just the pressure from their fathers or their families, they would lie and say they were raped. All right, and sentence their poor boyfriend or their lover will be put to death. All right, and their whole families will get. But then he has the nerve to sit up here and talk about a motherfucking MOA. Man, this is Deuteronomy. You got to try to stop using that word too, because I just learned, and I'm going to do a video on it, Yahweh Ratazah, that the word motherfucker was actually, they would use young men to breed with their own mothers, and they would put bags over their head so they wouldn't know that he was screwing his own mother because he was so muscular and well built or whatever. They would have him screw his own mother to make another one. And that's where you would get that retard strength. She would, with your own child, even though his bloodline is of his father, he still came from you. That's some fucked up shit. And he got the nerves to say, man, ooh, ugh. All right, this is Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 18. And it reads, and judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness that have testified falsely against his brother, then ye shall do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother, so that thou shalt put evil away from among you. All right? So, vengeance is coming back on these red sons of bitches. All right? And I can't wait until that day comes, and that day is near at hand, because they know their time is short. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai Ba'Shem Wakakwadash Wa Abba Kwam Yasharala.